take home the Golden Gloves, you've got to put in the work, and you've got to be tough as nails. Ashley Kalis was driven to achieve. Today, Kalis is still fueled by that same hope, grit, and determination. A mother of 3 school-aged boys and successful business owner who ran testing and vaccination sites across the state. Kalis is the fighter Rhode Island needs right now because it's time for a change. Ashley Kalis for governor.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress live Wednesday night podcast. We missed you all last week, but we are back in action this week, and we have a fun-packed June ready for you. But let's get right to our show tonight. I have 2 amazing ladies from the Contemporary Theater Company with me tonight, and I cannot wait to fill you guys in on all the amazing stuff that they do in and around the state of Rhode Island for theater and the artistic review. Welcome, ladies, and thank you for being part of our show tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I am so excited to get into this conversation tonight because I am such a fan of the arts and the show and everything that's going on. So I would love it if you would each take your turn and introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do. Let's start with you, Tammy.
So my name's Tammy Brown. I am the artistic director at the Contemporary Theater Company. I've been in this job for just a little bit over a year now, so admittedly a sort of weird time to take over a theater, but it's been an adventure. I'm a lifelong Rhode Islander. I've been an actor and a director for many years here in Rhode Island. Grew up here, born and raised, and it's great to have a full-time arts job in my home state. So I'm really excited to talk more about it.
Oh, I'm so excited to get more into this. But Marin, my favorite person, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
My name is Marin Flynn. I'm a local actress, singer, performer, writer here in the Ocean State. I've lived here all my life, pretty much, doing some stuff in nearby Connecticut and Massachusetts sometimes as well. Currently, I'm in the production that Tammy is currently directing, The Never-Ending Story, at Contemporary Theater Company. And I'm super excited to be working with her and CTC again. I think the last time was, 2018, when I was in their outdoor on the patio performance of Romeo and Juliet, and I played the nurse, which was a lot of fun. And Contemporary is just a really great group of artistic, creative people that feel like a family. And I'm really excited to be working with them again. I do a lot of local community theater as well. I'm also a board member of Swamp Meadow Community Theater, which recently just moved up to our new home base of the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island. And that's pretty much what I'm involved in at the moment.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And what my podcast doesn't show you, and I want to highlight, and I know it's okay with Marin is a person of disability. Marin has AMC, and she is currently in a wheelchair. I had met Marin and seen her perform for the first time in Little Women from the Assembly Theater. She wasn't playing a disability role. Yes, she happens to be in a wheelchair, but she was playing a regular role. And I'll tell you, if you want to hear an amazing voice, you need to hear Marin's voice,
Thank
because
you.
I was literally blown away of how amazing and what a great voice she has. But it just goes to prove that people of all abilities can join the theater. Tammy, how has that worked for you? Have you had a lot of people with the contemporary theater of all different abilities and all the different productions that you have been involved with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to cast a wide variety of folks. I think the plays that we do on stage should reflect the world around us, and that means people of all different colors, all different backgrounds, different ages, different gender identities, and different abilities. And I think the point that you make, that when you cast somebody with a disability, that they don't necessarily have to be playing a role that's tagged as having a disability, is really key to the way we cast at the Contemporary Theater. We just cast the person. We want to work with people who are playful, who have a lot of energy, who kind of like embody the sort of community atmosphere that we want to like keep going here at the theater. And so that's what we look at first. Um, and and I think that there are certain places, certain theaters. Theaters is a pretty visual art form, among other things, but it does tend to be fairly visual. And I think there are some people who they have a certain image of what a character is supposed to be in their head. Like they read the play and then they get something in their head about what the character is supposed to look like. And so then they kind of get tunnel vision when they go to cast the show. And if the person doesn't show up looking the way they think the character should look, then they don't cast the actor. And I just think that's that's not the best way to go about it, because you're missing out on so many people who could bring such different energy and playfulness and invention to the role. So that's what I look for when I'm casting.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, when I went to go see Little Women, because I'm very involved with the Assembly Theater, because we just got a ramp put in to a historic theater. There is now an ADA ramp that they can get on stage, off stage, backstage, in the front of the theater. There's no place of the Assembly Theater that a wheelchair user cannot access at this point. And when I saw the play, there were actually two people of disability, both in
Mhm.
wheelchairs, in the play, both of them not playing a disability role. Marin, what does that mean to you to be cast for your talent and who you are, and not because of your disability or not because of your disability?
Um, so I've been really privileged to be anywhere from, back when I was in school plays, to community theater, to semi-professional things that I've done, to have had the opportunity to play really amazing roles that, yeah, the majority of them weren't meant for the character wasn't meant to be in a wheelchair, or be disabled or differently abled or what have you. And I think it's a really amazing feeling, because one of the first non-school shows I did back when I was a teenager, I received one of the best compliments in my life, which was, Marin, when you open your mouth, like, your wheelchair disappears. Like, I don't see the chair. I don't see your disability. And I think that's a pretty amazing thing, that if people are, and especially directors, are more open to that, like Tammy was saying, you as a differently abled person can bring a different energy to the character and to the story, and see it in a way that you wouldn't have thought of before. And sometimes, the disability, in a way, depending on the actor, can almost become invisible, because you're focused on what they're bringing in their energy and their character, and not, what they're necessarily sitting in or leaning on. If, there's all different disabilities. People use walkers, crutches, that kind of thing. I've worked with all sorts of actors of all different abilities, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think, and hearing that compliment, I truly believe it because I'll tell you, I was literally, I knew you were good, but when I heard you at Soundbite and when they practice, I mean, I was blown away. And I've heard you sing before, but seeing you live on stage singing, it's so true. Your wheelchair just disappeared. And Jonathan's too. Jonathan
Mhm.
has an amazing voice, and the character that he played,
Yes.
um, it just disappeared. Like you didn't see it anymore. It was just kind of normal, to the play. Like I believe COVID did that for a lot of us. Like I've been on, I know we've all been on a zillion Zoom calls in the last 2 years. And I
Mhm.
sit in a recliner. I don't sit in my wheelchair. I sit in a recliner because it's way more comfortable. And I'll tell you, I talk about disability all of the time. Now that we're going out and about and people are seeing me in person, do you know how many people have said to me, I never would have put you in a wheelchair? Like I never pictured that. I knew you talked about disability, but I never put two and two together. Like, you know what I mean? Like they had a
Yeah.
different view of me because they didn't know that before. And it's crazy. Timmy, what are some of the things that you have upcoming, and where is the Contemporary Theater? Just to give people a little bit of background where that you are in Rhode Island.
Yeah, Contemporary Theater Company is in Wakefield, Rhode Island. We're right on Main Street, so we're in South County. Um, in some ways, our theater schedule works almost opposite to a lot of other companies' theater schedules because our kind of big time is in the summer and like into the fall. Because we're pretty close to the beach, so we have a lot of like tourists, a lot of summer folks come to see shows here. But we do things all year long, and we do a variety of different things. We do scripted shows. We have a really strong improv program. Actually, right now, I'm at the theater right now, but outside on our patio, we have a patio musical, which is a full-length improvised musical show that we have weekly down here at CTC. We have classes. Um, we have Wakefield Idol, which happens in like usually happens January to April, but we had to push it back a little bit. And Marion was a part of that this year. Um, we have our Ocean State Improv Festival coming up next week, where we welcome improvisers from all across the country to come and perform and teach and take classes with our own community. So lots of cool stuff going down in South County.
And where can people get the schedule and everything? Like if they wanted to check out what you guys do and they wanted to catch a show, where do they get the schedule? Is it social media? Is it a website? Is it both? Give out some of the information of how people can get in contact and check out all of the schedules.
Yeah, it's both. We have a Facebook page, the Contemporary Theater Company. We also have Instagram, which is at the CTC, like Contemporary Theater Company, but it's at the CTC. But you could also go on our website. It's thecontemporarytheatercompany.com. That's probably the best like one-stop shop to kind of get a list of everything we have going on at any given time because we do have a lot of stuff going on at different points in the year. So I would say go to the website. You can also sign up for our newsletter um, or check us out on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah. So it's a Contemporary Theater Company.com.
Yes.com.
I
Hmm.
am putting that in the chat. So um, that is in the chat, and your Facebook page is tagged above this video. So people have both ways now to contact you. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. And Marin, tell us a little bit about this idol thing that you were involved in. How did that go? And what is that all involved about?
So it was called Wakefield Idol. It's the second local idol competition I've ever competed in. Many years ago, back in 2007, I was Swamp Meadow Community Theater's and Foster Old Home Days' own Foster Idol, but that one was a lot smaller. Wakefield Idol, I'm trying to remember. Tammy, how many weeks is it like
Um,
altogether?
I think it's like 13 weeks or
Yeah,
something like that.
so there's like four preliminary rounds, and then if you make it through the first preliminary round, they split everybody up into two secondary rounds, and then if you get through that, you go to, it's called the Sweet 16, I think, of the top 16 singers, and then it gets narrowed down to the top 12 singers, and then it's then there was a night off where it was just like a fun live night where we got to sing with a live band and nobody was being judged and no voting. And then right the following week, it was right back to the competition again. And I made it to the semifinals, and I placed 7th. And then the top 4 singers from the semifinals got to go on to the finals. But it was a lot of fun. It was a bit daunting and nerve-wracking at times because it was a lot bigger than the little Foster Idol one that I competed in back in 07. There were a lot of singers and a lot of really, really good singers in it, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to give it a shot again next year and see what happens. So
Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, to play 7th, I mean, that's really cool. And all of Rhode Island to play 7th. I mean, like I said, your voice is amazing. And hopefully maybe you can give us a couple, of notes. I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, but you know what I mean? Think about it. And if you want to, give me a kind of thumbs up. But I'd love to hear people just to hear a sampling of your voice. But Tammy, tell us a couple of things that you have upcoming, like plays. I know Marin is in one of the plays that you're doing upcoming, but give us some idea of what you have upcoming so people can, check it out.
Yeah, so we're kind of ramping up, so to speak, toward the summer. Summer, like I said, is our big season. So we have next week, like I said, we have the Ocean State Improv Festival, which is basically from Wednesday to Sunday. It's improv shows, classes. It's all open to the public. It's people from all over the country and all over Rhode Island presenting different improv styles and shows and things. So that's going to be really fun. That's really big for us. And then 2 weeks after that, we open The Never-Ending Story, which is a play, like a theatrical version of the book or the famous film from the early 80s. So that's been really exciting to work on. I'm directing that, and Marin is a part of that cast. We have a lot of...
I will be going down to see that because that's my favorite story. So yeah. I will be going down to see that. So
yeah, there's a big, big nostalgia factor with that. I think that's part of the reason why we picked it is because, like, we're bringing people back into the theater. And so to a certain extent, you want to feel like you're on an adventure, and I think you want to feel something comforting, something nostalgic, something that you're sort of familiar with, but in a new way. And so that's why we picked Never-Ending Story. But it's a huge show for us to put on. We're a relatively small theater company, although, I mean, relatively, everything is relative, but we only have a few staff members. So this is a pretty large show in terms of what we're used to. There's going to be a lot of puppetry and a lot of different lighting effects and sound effects and things that we're still figuring out and working on. So it's going to be a really, really cool experience. So Never-Ending Story, if you're into that, that starts June 24th and runs through the end of July on the weekends. And we have things going on all summer after that. We have the play As You Like It, the William Shakespeare play, out on our patio. Like Marin was saying, she was a part of our Shakespeare on the Saugatucket patio series in 2018, and we've been doing it every year since 2016, I think. We have a really beautiful patio space, not to toot our own horn or anything, but it's a lovely place to watch a play. We have a full bar out there. It's right by the river. You can see the sunset going down behind the show. So that's in July and August. We have As You Like It going on out there. And then in August, we have the show Men on Boats, which is a really fun twist on adventure and American history, and kind of taking... It asks questions about whose story do we tell and how do we tell it, and what happens when we flip those narratives on their head. So it's a really fun show too.
That's so much fun, and you definitely need to toot your own horn because that's the whole purpose of you being on my show is to toot your own horn. So yeah, this is the place to toot your own horn. But give us an idea of what tickets cost and what people can expect when they go down there. Like, how many people are sitting out there? What are some of the ticket prices? Do you have to buy way in advance, or can you get last minute? Like, give us a little scenario of what to expect for people who haven't been down there to the theater.
Yeah, I mean, I would say usually you can buy tickets the day of the show. You can walk right up and buy tickets. Although with Neverending Story, who knows? It's a fairly popular title. We've had a lot of interest in that. So I would suggest if you're interested in coming to the Neverending Story, maybe get your tickets ahead for that just to be on the safe side. Um, but basically, what we did I think we started it at the end of last year and now into this year, is we have a sliding fee scale for our ticket prices because on the one hand, we have staff and we pay all of our artists and we want to make sure that we can afford to pay them as fairly as we can. But at the same time, we want to make theater be accessible to everybody too. We don't want price to be a barrier to folks. So you can choose what you pay. You can either pay 10, 20, 30, or 40. We say that $30 is like our standard price. We need about 70% of the folks in the audience to pay that price on average to kind of break even on shows. So we welcome that if you're able to pay that. But if you're not able to pay that, that's just fine. You could pay 20, you could pay 10. If you're feeling extra generous and you want to subsidize someone else's ticket, you can pay $40 and we have a gong. You can hit the gong if you pay $40 and we celebrate your generosity that way. So we try to keep it so that the folks who can pay a little bit more do, and the folks who can't quite pay that much still have access to come see the shows.
That's incredible. And like I said, what a beautiful venue for people to, like I said, $30, $40 to go down to your beautiful venue, have a drink by the water while you're watching a wonderful play with amazing voices like Marin in your plays. It's definitely worth it. You know what I mean? To go down and pay the price. So if you can afford it, definitely throw some money towards the arts, because these are the people that keep us entertained. These are the people that were most hurt during COVID because all of this was shut down. So help them rebuild, help them get back out there, do what you can to donate. And I'm sure that people could donate even if they don't go to the show, but they still want to support the arts. There's a donate button on your website, if I'm correct, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, we're in a very uh, I'm thankful we're in a very a good position as a company because we had a lot of generous donation support in 2020, which kept us through when we had to stop our programming. And so coming out of the pandemic, we are actually expanding. So we went from having 4 full-time staff to now 6 full-time staff. And we also have a huge expansion project going on our patio space. So we've built a whole new extra building with a nice new bar and really wonderful balcony seating for the patio. So we're growing, and so but all that growth does need more support. We're still fundraising for the expansion project, and then of course we have to fundraise all the time for our day-to-day operations. We also have like I said, we have festivals. We also have the Black and Funny Improv Festival, which happens in September, where we welcome Black improvisers from all across the country to come and perform. At our theater, and so we're raising money to support that as well. Um, and we have like a lot of places, we have a strong commitment to equity and diversity, and so we want to make sure that we actually set aside a certain percentage of our budget just to help those areas, so we can always use more help as far as that goes too.
Yeah, and I mean, they're accessible. You get to have your bar, you get to have the water, you get to have the heat, and you get to be entertained. What more could you ask for? And all of that together. And I know they're accessible because Marin's in the place. So they're fully accessible and inclusive to everybody. So Marin, tell us a little bit more of what you have going on, because I know you're doing some fun stuff for us that's artistic and theater based, but give us a little bit more of what you have going on.
Yeah, did you want me to talk about the
Yeah, oh, you
festival
can
coming up
absolutely
next?
talk about it. I never stop
Yeah.
anybody from talking about ramp events. So,
Well, I was really honored when I met shortly after I met Tina in person. I know we had met online a few years ago, but I met you in person this past year. You had told me about this great outdoor fundraiser that you guys do for Ramp every year. Is it accessibility is beautiful? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's our big
Yeah.
Accessibility is Beautiful event down at the Steel Yard on September 10th from 2 to 7. Just a little
Yes.
shout out there.
Yes. And Tina asked if I'd be interested in organizing the entertainment, and I was thrilled. And so I'm excited to say I've been able to recruit so far a band and a few musical theater people and some folksy guitar playing singer songwriter people and a few improv actor people that might do some non-musical stuff. I am still currently looking for folks that want to come down and join us at the Steel Yard. It's a great venue outside along I think it's the Woonasquatucket River over there.
Mhm.
Yep.
On Sims Ave. Sims Ave's really come a long way. It used to not be the greatest of places you wanted to hang out at. And
Yeah.
now there's like Revival Brewing Company and Industrious Spirit Company and New Harvest Coffee Company and the Farm Fresh building. And there's people using the Steel Yard for arts festivals and concerts. And I even saw a play there last summer that was part of PVD Fringe Fest. But it's a really wonderful, great place to hang out. And so I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean the Steel Yard is fully accessible. We
Mhm.
had just the event at just the Steel Yard last year, but we are growing. We are going to be taking up the entire block with Revival. We have things that are going on in Farm Fresh, and I mean Farm Fresh is a one-stop shop for a date because you can get your flowers and truffles, you can get your ice cream, you can have a meal, and you can have a drink all in one building. And it's a
Yep.
venue spot. So like you can't do better than that. We're gonna have food trucks. And like I said, just to come down and support the arts of people with all abilities is going to be amazing to be able to showcase that throughout the street, throughout the yard, throughout the event. Just to see that you guys and businesses can hire these actors and actresses for an event, for like a team building thing, or for anything that you wanted to entertain your employees. The whole purpose of doing this is to get the arts hired out, whether it's the singers, the band, or whatever. We want you to include them in your day-to-day business, in your fun events, in all of your spaces that you have. We want you to include people of all abilities, and that is the entire point of doing what we do. What other kind of plays do you have going on over the summer? I know you're going to be in the Never Ending Story, which I myself cannot wait to see. But what else do you have going on?
Well, I just got asked by some of my old colleagues at Mystic Seaport Museum, where I had worked for 4 years, from fall of 2016 right up until March of 2020, when the pandemic hit, and unfortunately 200 of us at Mystic Seaport Museum got laid off. Some of my old colleagues and friends that used to work there and also found themselves in the same situation as me, being laid off, decided to go independent. And our old costumer, who's also a very talented writer and historical reenactor herself, Rebecca Donahue, she found a niche that a lot of these historical smaller museums and historical societies in New England do events, but because they're small and a lot of them are nonprofit and mostly volunteer oriented, they don't have the staff to hire reenactors and have someone make period costumes and all this whatnot. So she basically started this freelance group called Dirty Blue Shirts. The name comes from when we all worked at Mystic Seaport together doing the demos and whatnot. Our work clothes were these, blue shirts we'd be wearing, and because we were like outside doing stuff, they got dirty a lot, and we often had to launder them in the costuming building. So the phrase got to be at the end of whatever demo, and if you have any more questions, just see one of the people in the dirty blue shirts. So as sort of hats off to those memories, she decided to call the group Dirty Blue Shirts. And they're going to be doing some small events throughout the summer: a fiber arts festival in Waterford, Connecticut, and an apple cider festival in September. That's unfortunately on the same day as accessibility is beautiful. So please come to Accessibility is Beautiful. However, if you live too far away and you're in Connecticut, then go to the Apple Cider
Yeah.
Festival. But anyways, I'm really excited. In October, they got asked by the Old Lyme Historical Society. So apparently, and I never knew this. This is something I learned recently. Connecticut was back during Prohibition, was huge in the bootlegging industry. There was an older woman, like a grandmotherly type looking woman, but she was like, you did not want to mess with her. She was not your average grandmother. Her name was Nellie Green. And she was Nellie Green, Connecticut's bootleg queen. And she like evaded the feds like how many times, like, because she was so crafty and sly. And they would produce a lot of the liquor that would secretly get ferried over to Long Island and New York City to a lot of the speakeasies and clubs. So Old Lyme Historical Society in October wants to do an event where it's like going back in time to Prohibition era and what, you know, a speakeasy bootlegging party would have looked like in Connecticut those days with Nellie Green bootlegging queen. So my friend and colleague Katie Roberts has been doing a lot of research on Nellie Green and is going to be playing her. And Rebecca said, we need someone to be a 20s style jazz singer. How about you, Marin? So I'm really excited.
That's awesome.
That I'm going to be part of the event, you know, dressed up in flapper gear as a 20s style jazz singer. I don't know if any of you have seen the first Fantastic Beasts and Where They Come From movie, but there's a great scene where they go to a magical speakeasy and there's a goblin lady singing like Billie Holiday type songs. And ever since I saw that movie, I was like, I want to do that. And now I get to do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that's okay.
But leave it to a sassy old woman to bootleg liquor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I just love that story to, you know, leave it to a sassy old lady to get away and, you know, scope out the feds and, you know, get to bootleg around New England, you know, like I love that kind of story. But yeah, so I'm excited for everything that you do, but you know, like I want everybody to come to Accessibility is Beautiful to watch the art be showcased, to watch all abilities be showcased at the event, because I think it's incredible. And hopefully we'll have some of the contemporary theater people, if they're not performing down at the Contemporary Theater that weekend, that they'll be down there. So you'll get to meet all of them and they can bring a little bit of Westerly to Providence, Rhode Island, because that would be absolutely incredible if we could merge those two things together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much fun. But you know, I'm just excited, and you know, I'm looking. How is the ticket sales going? Like, are people, Tammy, welcoming the fact of being back in person to theater again? Are you seeing like an uptick, or is it a slow go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's building everything back kind of slowly, kind of piece by piece. I think people have their different levels of comfort in terms of being in groups, being in large groups together, and just knowing that we're still here, that we're still doing things. Like last summer, we did everything outdoors from May through October. And it was a challenge just to get folks to realize that, yes, we were doing theater then. And now it's like trying to get people to know that, like, yes, we're doing theater again. We're going to be inside and outside. And we take safety really seriously. So we're going to make sure everything is safe as possible. But trying to get people back to come to the theater again. Because I think like during the pandemic, like, our lives all shifted a bit and our habits shifted and changed. And I know for me, before the pandemic, it was kind of a habit to go to the theater. Like every Friday, every Saturday night, like I'd find a different play to watch. And, you know, because my friends were doing plays and I was going around supporting them. And it was just like a habit. And that's kind of how theaters operate, is on that momentum of people just kind of getting used to the fact that, like, oh yeah, every Friday night there's a show at the Contemporary Theater or whatever. And then when that all stopped, it's kind of getting folks back into that habit again, and seeing where
Right.
theater fits into people's lives again, and coming back together again. And I think it's going to be a process to kind of rebuild that back. I think that's part of the reason why we wanted to do a show like Neverending Story that kind of welcomes people back in a way that's sort of familiar to people. And then, we kind of maybe try to do some weirder stuff. Neverending Story is kind of weird, but do some even weirder stuff toward the end of the year. But I think that's part of it is getting people back in the habit of coming to theater again.
Yeah. And you have such a unique space out there because you have the beautiful venue outside. So if people are a little, hesitant at first and they just wanted to come to some of the outside shows, they can still get back, be around people, but still be safe because they're outside in a venue, whether that than being, closed in a theater inside. So, you have that uniqueness that you can bring people back slowly because they're safer when they're outside and then slowly bring them back into the theater. So I just love your space. I think it's just such a unique space. And like you said, with the backdrop of the water, you get to have your alcohol, you get to sit and watch, amazing plays. What more could you ask for? What a great weekend. So all of you guys out there that don't know what to get your gals or you want to take them out on, a nice little outing and an adventure, take them to a play down in Westerly. You got entertainment,
Wakefield.
you got the
Wakefield.
beautiful
Wakefield.
water. Wakefield, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You got
that's
the
okay.
beautiful water, you got the alcohol, you get the performance. You kind of got it all in one thing and you don't even have to try hard to do it. You just have to buy the tickets.
Yep.
So go out there, you can get the sunset, you know what I mean? So you kind of got it all rolling into one. So there's like really no excuse of why you can't go and make a nice date and enjoy some great, outdoor giving. Give us the website again so that people know how to contact you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the contemporarytheatercompany.com. And we have like Tina was saying, we have a lot of great stuff. And come summer, once we get into like mid to late June, we have things going 6 nights a week on the patio. We have jazz concerts on Mondays. We have right now we have patio musical on Wednesdays, and then we'll have our Shakespeare on the Saugatucket on Wednesdays after that. And then through the weekend, we have our indoor shows. We also on Thursdays are going to have a concert series. Thursdays in Wakefield are really fun because it's a river fire night. So they take those like little like brazier cauldron things and put them on the river and light them up. And it's a really nice night to kind of get out and walk around town. And we're going to have concerts on those nights, rock concerts throughout. So that's going to be a great time as well. So just stuff to do. If there's any night of the week where you're like, I wish I could do something, just come to South County because there's something to do at Contemporary.
Yeah, it's the southern version of Waterfire, just a little bit, to the south. So
Yeah.
go and check it out. Everybody has vacation coming up, so any night of the week will work for you because it's not a school or work night
Yep.
for you. And let's face it, most people are working still from home. So, when you don't have to leave far to go to work in the morning, you can go out at night because, waking up and opening your computer is not that difficult. So go out and enjoy some theater and stuff during the week because it just needs to be what you need to do. Marin, give everybody your, or do you want to give us a couple of notes or are you not prepared?
Oh, you want me to sing something?
I was just thinking if you could sing a couple of notes or something just so somebody can, hear your amazing voice. But if you're not prepared, I totally understand. I do not want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I could sing a little something. Do you want me to hear? Do you want it to be something I wrote, or does it?
Anything you want to. I just want to showcase a little bit of your voice.
Okay, maybe I'll I do open mics a lot, and last night for the first time I went to a cabaret open mic at Arctic Playhouse in West Warwick. I didn't even know that existed, where most open mics are for singer-songwriters who play guitar and piano, and I don't play any of that. So but I do like to write songs sometimes, so I mostly just go and sing a cappella. But last night it was really great. I could just bring sheet music and they had an accompanist already there and played. But I guess I can, since I don't play anything, I won't do that, but I can do a little something that I wrote a cappella if you Don't
Yeah, that'd
mind.
be great. Just give it, like I said, I just
Okay.
want to give everybody a little taste of your voice.
Okay. Just pull it up here. Here it is. Okay. This was a song I wrote during the pandemic. I'll just sing a little bit of it. It's called Selkie Girl. Selkie is in, I grew up, I'm not all Irish, but I'm a lot Irish. And I grew up with a lot of Celtic mythology. And Selkies were the seal people. They could, in the water, they were seals. And when they came ashore, they could shed their seal skins and become human. So this song is called Selkie Girl. Selkie girl spinning in the waves. Selkie girl sometimes misbehaves. Selkie girl dancing in the sea. Wild and free. Wild and free. Sunrise, moonrise, the tides may ebb and flow. Sacred, shimmering, the stars showing where to go. She won't fret, caught in a net. She's trapped, can't get away. She can't get away. Selkie girl spinning in the waves. Selkie girl sure can misbehave. Selkie girl dancing in the sea. Wild and free. Wild and free. And there's more to it, but basically I wrote it during the pandemic.
That
I think a
is
lot of us were
beautiful.
thank you. We're feeling trapped and, not comfortable in our own skins. So that's
Yeah.
what sort of influenced me to write that. So yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And that was just a taste of her voice, but I'm going to tell you a little story. And I'm probably going to embarrass Mary when I say this, but when I was sitting, because I sat through all the nights rehearsal and everything of Little Women because I highly
You were there
promoted
like the entire
the
tech
play.
week, I remember. Yeah.
Yes, I was pretty much there the entire tech week. And there was one point where Marin's microphone did not work. And Marin's voice carried more than anybody else who had a mic on. And I'm like,
so can I clarify?
wow, your mic was awfully loud. And
she's
and then she gets off stage and she says, my mic wasn't working. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that gorgeous voice came out of you and there was no mic. I was blown away. It was amazing.
I need to clarify.
I want you both to give.
It wasn't working. I was stupid, and when I was putting my wig on, we forgot to put it back on, and so it was hanging off the back of my chair.
Yeah, so basically it was muffled. But her voice was amazing, and she didn't even have the mic running right, and I couldn't believe it. But I want you both to give your final plea as we near the end of our hour of why people should be coming back to the theater and why the contemporary theater. So Tammy, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Sure, yeah. I think that the more we come back together, the more we realize that we really did miss it. There's a certain electricity, a certain level of connection that you just can't get through a screen. And just sharing the same space with people, sharing their humanity together, kind of going on a collective journey together, is what the theater is all about. And it's something that I think has been lacking for a lot of us during the pandemic when we've been so isolated. So, it's one of the types of art forms that you can experience together as a group, and that's what makes it really special. And so I think coming back into the theater, feeling that electricity of the crowd together and seeing the actors on stage kind of like going through the journey of the show for you there in person in the same space, it's a really, really special experience. And so you can only get it inside of a theater. And also, like, I don't know, it's just a great way to support local artists and particularly at the Contemporary Theater and a lot of other theaters around, but at the Contemporary Theater, like all of our artists are right here from Rhode Island. They're probably your neighbors, they're your friends, or in Rhode Island is so small. It's like so and so went to school with my cousin or whatever, and you'll probably come here and find somebody on stage. And it's
You
a real,
will not
it's
probably come by
yeah,
and know somebody on stage. You will go
You
by
will
and know
know
yeah,
somebody on
somebody on
stage because
stage.
we are Rhode Island and
hmm
everybody knows a guy. It is
exactly,
just the way of Rhode Island that everybody knows a guy. So you will. And for all of you business leaders out there or networking people, what a great space to network. Take all of your people to a play
yeah,
and network before and after and intermission would
hmm
be a great space to do all of that so you can support the arts while networking and meeting new people. So you need to go down and see Tammy. And what's that website again, Tammy?
yeah. It's the contemporarytheatercompany.com. And come check it out, and just click through and see all of the different stuff we have. We also have summer camps for kids. I didn't even mention that, but if you have a child between the age of I think 8 to 17, we have camps going all throughout the summer if your child's interested in doing theater, and we have a sliding fee for that as well. So come on down, check us out, have a good time with us this summer.
So you can send your kid to camp, you can go and have a drink, you can watch some plays, you can meet amazing people like Tammy and Marin. There is no reason why you don't need to go down and visit the Contemporary Theater. So I'm just saying, make it happen. Don't wait, don't put it off anymore. Go down and say Tammy and say, hey Tammy, I saw you on the podcast. I had to come and check it out. So go give Tammy a shout out. Marin, give us your plea of why everybody should get back out and get back in theater and come see you in the never ending story.
Well, just to add on to what Tammy said, I think we went through so much during the pandemic being isolated, and now is the time we can finally come together again. And yes, it is sometimes fun to, as the kids say these days, just Netflix and chill at home. But I think there's like only so much Netflix or Hulu or whatever Disney Plus that you can watch, or even going to the cinema that you can watch, that isn't the same magic and energy as going to the theater and seeing live art happening right in front of you with live people and all of that energy and those characters and whatnot. And also accessibility wise, what I think is great that CTC, Contemporary Theater Company, has been doing lately is they got Tammy, was it several grants they got to expand the theater, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And not only like the stage currently indoors is accessible, but now the entire patio, like back when I was in Romeo and Juliet, the patio was accessible for audience, but there was still one step up to get on the platform stage. So I had one of my portable fold-up ramps we used to get on it. But now with all the new renovations they've done, there's like these two spiraling ramps to get down to the audience and then up to the stage. It's like gorgeous. It's beautiful. There's all those great walking paths. The bridge that goes right over the river and connects to the gazebo is all wheelchair accessible. So I think it's one of the greatest summer places for people in wheelchairs to go to because of that. And now they're expanding the building as well, so that's really exciting. And then we're doing the Never Ending Story, which I think is one of the best fantasy stories of all time. Like, I don't know if anyone else watching this podcast out there is like me as a kid, that was like one of the quintessential fantasy films out there, with like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, like from the 80s, that you could watch. And when I was old enough, so I grew up with the film first as a small child, and then when I was old enough and found out that it was actually based on a book, a young adult novel, I quickly ran out and got that. And till this day, I have like probably about half dozen different editions and copies of the book. I love the book so much too. And what I like about our version is there's stuff that people will be familiar with from the film, but then there's also some characters and scenes that weren't in the film that are from the book that'll be kind of a nice surprise to anyone who hasn't read the book but are more familiar with the movie. And I'm so excited to also be fulfilling my lifelong dream of getting to work with puppets. I've loved puppets since I was a kid. I was a huge Jim Henson freak. Like I wanted to be one of those characters. And what kind of like not really stopped me, but didn't pursue into it more is that, even though I loved doing the voices of those characters, a lot of puppetry is very physical. And being, having arthrogryposis, I don't have all the muscles in my arms and legs, especially your hands. You need to be very dexterous sometimes when doing puppets. But this production, because it's an ensemble production where it's a group of us playing all different characters, and some of us come together to play the same character. So like I might be the head of Morla or Egramol, the giant creepy spider, but the other actors become the body around me and are, able to manipulate the arms and legs and things that I wouldn't be able to do. So that in itself just feels amazing to be able to come together as an ensemble and have that come to life right on stage. So
yeah. So basically, you need to go down and you need to go check it out because the
Yeah.
Never Ending Story is a thing. And I wanted to be Oscar the Grouch in the worst way. It's
Yep.
still one of my bucket list items. I want to be Oscar the Grouch, but everybody tells me I'm too happy to be Oscar. I said, nope, I'm going to be Oscar the Grouch. At some point, it's going to happen. I will make it happen. Yeah, I'm excited about that. So the Contemporary Theater, you need to go down. You need to check it out. Check out their website. Go down and visit. Get involved, get in the arts, bring your networking, bring your girlfriend. We spent 2 years in the house. Get out of your house, go see something fun. But thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time and joining me tonight and telling everybody about all the wonderful things that you guys do. And again, go support something that's fully accessible for everybody, all abilities. It's fully accessible for everybody, and that's something to rejoice because it's not a common thing. We want it to be a common thing, but it's not as of yet. So go enjoy a place that's fully accessible down by the water. See the sunset, see the thing, and have a drink for me because I can't drink and drive, and I'm always driving my wheelchair. So have an extra drink for me. I give you permission. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me tonight. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And if you can't remember how to contact them, just contact me and I will put you in touch with these amazing ladies. So I can't thank you enough. And we'll be seeing you guys soon.
Thank you so much for having us, Tina.
Thank you. This has been really great. Thank you.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, and I welcome everybody to come back and join us next Wednesday night at 7:00 p.m. We have a great show for you next week. I'm talking to a couple of friends of mine of all abilities about disability air travel, traveling, vacations, and all of that fun stuff. So join us next Wednesday night at 7:00 and have your questions ready because we'll be answering them live on the air with my guests, and we are so excited to share all of that with you. So next Wednesday night, 7 p.m., and go check out the Contemporary Theater Company. You will not be disappointed with anything that they do. So the contemporarytheatercompany.com, go check them out and tell Tammy you saw her on this podcast and give her a big shout out for me. Thank you all. And as I always say, don't just sit there, make a difference. Good night, all.